On the air everywhere, this is New England Broadcasting.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's the Ron Van Dam Show.
Hold on tight, things can get a bit weird, if you like that sort of thing.
Well, I usually don't do a show on the weekends, but we have some great interviews that we have yet to air, and we thought this would be a great time to do this. So if you're into meeting different people and getting information and getting some great ideas, especially for the holidays, whatever, how to stay safe, etc., lifestyle kind of information, we've got quite a few people today that can help you out. So are you ready? Here they are. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Ron. How are you today?
I'm great. Chef Jason Morse joins us now. He's a grilling expert and so many other credentials that we don't have time to tell you about them. Let's just talk. What part of the country are you out of?
I live in Denver, Colorado. We are here today in just outside Chicago.
Oh, cool. Very good. The grilling capital of the world, probably. I don't know.
Yeah,
you never know.
is.
It's a grilling capital of everything.
Right.
Thanksgiving's coming up, and one might say, grilling, Thanksgiving, what's the connection here?
Well, you know what's great about it is we love Thanksgrilling, as we call it, because it's really that opportunity for you to think outside the oven and take your meal out onto your grills. We definitely love everything about grilling, and it's great to have that backyard cooking environment to really rock and roll some fantastic meals on your Traeger grill even.
That's kind of interesting. Is it a grilling process through the entire? Because it takes like 3-4 hours to do a bird in the oven, or is it a finishing kind of thing? How does that work?
You know, for us, it's cooking that entire meal really from start to finish. So we can do a great job getting that turkey started, develop some low and slow smoke, and then turn the Traeger up and get it into that 350-degree roasting temperature. But then the cool part is being able to add in your sweet potatoes, to be able to add in mac and cheese or stuffing, and now you can get your entire project done on the grill.
Wow. You need a pretty good grill to do that, I would assume.
You definitely need a good grill. You need a big grill too, right?
Yeah.
The bigger the better, because then you can fit your entire meal in there, and you don't have to worry about running out of space.
What about some things getting a little more overcooked than others? I mean, everything happens at a different temperature sometimes.
Well, you know, the nice thing is it's a dance. We're able to choreograph that barbecue magic, so to speak, where you get the turkey added in there. And then, you know, when you're looking at temperature-wise, you're able to maybe add your cheesecake in at the same temperature. You're able to add your mac and cheese in or your sweet potato casserole. So it's really a lot of timing more than anything, and just figuring out, okay, how many hours do I have left, and when do I start putting everything else in the grill to catch up and finish at the same time.
Sounds like a challenge. You said it's a dance. It sounds like a symphony, actually.
It is.
Yeah. A lot of people throughout the country, even in the colder climates, will be doing Thanksgiving outside this particular year, especially. So this kind of plays into this concept, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a fun way to add some fantastic flavor to your food and this stuff you eat every day, but then really allows you to maybe not heat the house up, but spend a lot more time with your friends and family and just really have a fantastic Thanksgiving meal.
Very interesting. I assume that the grilling aspect of a turkey, that the skin gets really nice and crispy, and that's what a lot of people love the most, is that crispy skin.
Yeah, they definitely do. Everybody fights over that at my house, and it's who gets the crispy skin, who gets the crispy skin. The beauty of getting it out on your grills is being able to adjust that temperature at the end and make sure that you can, bump that temperature up and really rock that crispy skin.
The sides intrigue me, especially the stuffing and the cornbread, because that's just so different. Is that a slow cook method as well?
that's going to be a little bit higher temperature because you're going to be in that baking range.
Yeah.
But again, maybe you do the cornbread earlier before you get your turkey on it. And there's a little bit of planning that goes into it, but we've got a ton of recipes too that are available. You can go to acehardware.com/Thanksgrilling. We have got it packed full of recipes, tips, cooking videos, and more. It's pretty awesome. We've got you dialed in and set up for an amazing Thanksgiving feast.
Who would think that you could get grilling and cooking tips at Ace Hardware, and yet in a hardware, it's kind of where you go into a supermarket and they're not selling power tools. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's because we're helpful. Okay. We are helpful folks, and we want to make sure we've got you set. And we work hard to get you really all the tools you need. It's that one-stop shop. You can come in and grab everything you need for your grilling project, and we get you all taken care of at your local Ace even.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay, where do we go for more information about this besides going into our Ace Hardware store?
Yep, you can go to acehardware.com/Thanksgrilling. That's kind of our micro website we've got set up. We have recipes, tips, really cool downloadable tip sheets, and more. We'll help you plan how much turkey you need. We've got a chart that tells you how long to cook it, and then fantastic recipes on all the grills that we sell at your local Ace.
Well, if there was ever any year with a holiday season that it would be worth it to try it, it would be this one. So there you have it. Hey, Chef Jason, Thank you so much for your time today.
Hey, thanks so much, Ron. We appreciate it. Have a happy Thanksgrilling.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Dr. Julie joins us. She's she's almost a regular on the program. We've talked so many times. It's great to have you here again.
Thanks. Glad to be on.
You're always bringing us different ideas from all aspects. How do you have such a full life that you get involved in so much, Dr. Julie?
There's a lot to get involved in. Let's just put it that way.
I would assume so. What's on the table today for us?
We're talking about holiday eating and making sure that you absorb what you're eating and you get healthier this holiday rather than unhealthier.
Yes. Which might be a little bit easier to do because we're not going crazy with the big meals this year, most of us, because of the limited amount of people you may have over, or you should only do it with family that lives with you, etc. But it is also an opportunity to eat healthy as well and not go crazy cooking all these crazy things.
It's true. And, usually the more people, the more food. So you can keep it simple and you can keep it where it's actually, at the end of the day, you feel better than you did than you have in the past years. Let's put it that way.
Dr. Julie, can Thanksgiving and Christmas actually be a healthy experience?
I think, yes, to some degree. I think that you should give yourself reprieves on certain days of the year at least. But, I don't necessarily follow every single thing that I follow, pretty carefully throughout months. But you don't have to just slam it in and just be so completely unethical with yourself.
Yeah, I suppose so. What kind of things should we stay away from that we tend to gravitate toward during the holidays?
Well, one of the things that's happened, and I've noticed with COVID, is either people really went south and kind of gained weight and got unhealthy, and now they're going, oh my goodness, now I have that extra 10 I have to try to avoid putting on because this is the 10 we always put on at the holidays. Right. So the thing that people should really be aware of is the carbs are just going to kill you. And we aren't absorbing our food properly anyhow, even when we are eating correctly. And since we're not absorbing our food, we're not getting nutrition from it. So we're putting mass in our bodies, and yet we're not getting healthy and we're not getting the things that we need to have efficient systems. Yeah. So when you eat a lot of carbs, it definitely contributes to an unhealthy situation. And I always say have as much protein as you possibly want and throw vegetables in on that, and you're going to do great.
These are very sugary holidays, I call them, because everything seems to involve sugar, even displaying the sugar on the top of the foods. I guess that's like a major culprit.
I mean, it is. And, the thing that happens when you're eating the sugars is you'll have the sugar, which is no big deal. Enjoy, have as much as you want one day. It's not going to kill you. Yeah. But what happens is you have all the leftovers and you start eating it, for breakfast the next day and a late night snack the night later. And then once you start to push in a sugar metabolism, which you really can get it into a carbohydrate sugar type metabolism, it's so hard to get off of that and change back to a normal healthy metabolism that gives you energy throughout the day.
It's true. It's like being on crack or something. I guess that's an extreme example, but there is a very strong addiction involved with sugar.
There is, and there's an exact chemical formula that, you know, even people who didn't go to school for this, they can understand if it's explained correctly. And you go, oh my goodness, this is why I have to have the white bread, the English muffins, the toast on top of the chocolate in the desk office, and the ice cream at night. Yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story. At Christmas, I love eggnog because you're supposed to have it. If you don't, it's like illegal, and I think it's punishable by death. But when I look at the cartons and I read what's in it and how much fat there is, I don't have the eggnog anymore because I've read this thing, and it was a realization that a lot of the stuff I put in my body is like, whoa, what are you doing?
It's true. I mean, if you've ever had somebody in your house that was actually counting calories or looking at the fat content or looking even at the sugar content, or yourself, you really start to actually go, oh my goodness, I really do just blindly put things in that, there's no way that's healthy for you, and there's no way you're going to benefit from it. You can only use up what you've got in your system to actually fight off the toxic thing you just put in. So it's negative food because it's using up your reserves.
Right. So do you have any specific tips for people?
The best one that I would say, and, maybe Thanksgiving isn't the day that you're going to be able to do this perfectly, but it is a slower meal to eat, is have your protein first. So if you're, cooking the turkey and the ham and whatever you're doing, eat the protein and enjoy it. Take your time. Protein is one of the more complicated foods to break down and so vital for the system. And we're supposed to be making digestive enzymes to break down protein. Well, generally we aren't. So for, 29 years of being a doctor, I've been giving my patients extra high quality digestive enzymes to break down the foods on their plate. And Absorbate is the name of it. And so I have, a bowl of these sitting out in my kitchen on Thanksgiving. We have it every day, but everyone knows that they're supposed to be taking these enzymes so that they break down the food better. But if you eat the protein, you'll wait, 15 minutes or so. Then you can delve into the beans and maybe the salad if you have it, or some cranberry sauce, and then wait a little bit and then have your carbohydrates. Okay. So if you can do that, you're going to be basically putting food in that your body says, oh, I understand what that is. Great. We have enzymes. We'll break those down. Oh, I see. Now it's carbohydrates. Great. There's separate enzymes for that. We'll break that down. And now you're going to be digesting your food rather than having it sit there, rot, and feeling lousy an hour later.
That is so true. It's if you have a big meal that's laden with the nasty things you've talked about, you actually do feel. Most people feel sick. They feel sick to their stomachs, or they say I'm full, and they undo their belts or their whatever women use there, and that's not that's a sign of like, whoa, what did you do to yourself? You're bloated. You're not supposed to be bloated. It's just all the signs are there.
It is, and it's basically undigested food that's trying to get out of the system, and so it's creating gas and it's fermenting and it's really rotting in the body. So, the digestive enzymes are key. It's key for an everyday experience anyhow, just because, you can go to the health food store and try to figure out what nutrition you need. And you can certainly listen to the, next show or book you read. But if you take the digestive enzymes like the Absorbate, you're going to be getting everything that you can from the food on your plate. And that's the best way to spend your money rather than then trying to add in extra things.
No kidding. All right. How do we get more information about this?
The listeners can go to a website, which is naturesources.com, and they can read about the Absorbate. They can read different forms it comes in. It also, they have one called Absorbate Platinum, and I always mention this, and even more so now, because if you take this Absorbate Platinum in between meals, it breaks down toxins. It breaks down inflammation. So if you have joint pain and hand pain, ankle swelling, it helps to break down inflammation. also viruses and bacteria. So you can't go wrong taking a good high-quality digestive enzyme like Absorbate Platinum with meals and without meals, because the body's going to benefit on both lines.
Gotcha. All right.
And then they can also call the 1-800 number, which is 1-800-827-7656. And if they remember to use the code RADIO, you can ask for some free samples or 20% off your first order.
Wow. Finally, an interview with a phone number. You know how rare that is?
Oh, gosh, I know. I always want a phone number over a website myself.
I want to talk to somebody. All right.
Me too.
How does someone follow Dr. Julie?
Go on to naturesources.com, their website, and they can find out, what I'm doing and different things that we're helping to educate people with.
Sounds wonderful. Always good to talk to you. Have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you so much. You have a perfect radio voice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
Dr. Ian Smith is an author. He's written many books. He was on The Doctors, The Rachel Ray Show, and now the pinnacle of his career, he's on this program. Thanks for being here. Okay. It's cold and flu season, and this presents always some concerns. What are we looking on the horizon for cold and flu?
Yeah, it's that time of the year, and it's particularly important to pay attention because we're in the middle of the pandemic. And, with the cold and flu season, you got to really practice those simple preventive measures, things like making sure you're sneezing or coughing into a tissue if you don't have it. Do it to the inside of your elbow. Make sure you're washing your hands frequently with warm water and soap, at least for 20 seconds. If you don't have that available, use hand sanitizer. But these are very simple methods that can help prevent the spread of germs. You also talk about cold and flu symptoms. Mm-hmm. My goodness, things like fever, headache, a cough, these kinds of things, chest congestion. It's so important to realize that you have to try to treat these symptoms. Now, you can't cure the common cold or flu, unfortunately, but you can go to a grocery store or a pharmacy and get some over-the-counter medications that can help. Things like Mucinex Fast Max All-in-One. It provides multi-symptom relief for the worst cold and flu symptoms that you have. But the key, of course, Ron, is to make sure you are following the dosage that's prescribed by the manufacturer. We do the story on The Doctors all the time where people will take these over-the-counter medications, and because they're not getting the relief that they want or they think more is going to do better, they don't follow the recommended dosage. So please, follow the recommended dosage. And if your symptoms persist, this is critical, you really need to make sure you go talk to a healthcare professional and see if they deem that the more treatment or different approach is necessary. But this is a critical time for us, given the pandemic, that we pay attention to these symptoms.
Yeah. But on top of that, because of all of that, we tend to be a little bit more careful. We're wearing masks and we're washing our hands and we're keeping distance. So all in all, it should all fall into place with the cold and flu as well, being protected properly.
Well, that's an interesting point. So if people wear their masks, like we've been asking them to for the last several months, if there's more compliance, guess what's going to happen? You probably will have less transmission of illnesses and germs that will cause flu and cold. So it's just not protective. Masks are just not protective for COVID. They're protective of any kind of illness that is spread through respiratory droplets or that are aerosolized, that put into the air. So, these simple measures and hand washing and sneezing properly and coughing properly, these things all can go a long way to limit spread of disease. Excellent.
All right. Now, I hear about this ally of doctors. What is that concept?
Yeah, so Mucinex wants basically the country to rally around doctors. They want doctors to know we love you, we support you, we need you. So the idea is really simple. Basically, leave a review for your doctor. Only 16% of patients in the last 12 months have left a review. But if you go to healthgrades.com and leave a review, Mucinex is going to donate $20 for every first review to the United Negro College Fund to help support and empower the next generation of frontline workers. They're going to do it up to $20,000 to the end of 2020. So we want to encourage people to do that. Listen, when you review doctors, by the way, it helps the doctors learn their strengths and weaknesses, but it also helps other patients look at reviews to see whether or not that particular healthcare setting or doctor is right for them.
I know that in my family, we were looking for a surgeon to take care of a shoulder injury, and we did the health grades because we could look at the reviews and see how it was going and chose accordingly. So, I mean, you should do that for everything, and doctors as well.
Yeah, and it lets doctors know, listen, that you care about them, that you support them, that you want them to do well. It makes a lot of sense for everybody.
Very, very good. Okay. All right. So we've covered just about everything. We do appreciate doctors. I mean, they're incredible people, and they need our support as well. I mean, they're not standing there alone. They need the support of their patients.
Yeah, for sure. And, I think that we often forget that the frontline workers, they're nervous, they're stressed out, they don't get sick. If they get sick, no one can take care of the people who are sick. Yeah. And they have families at home, too, by the way, who they don't want to bring home illness. So I think once we realize we're all in this together and support our frontline workers, we all are going to be better off for it.
Let me ask you a question here that's a little bit off the beaten path. I always thought doctors never get sick. How could they see so many people and just and always seem to be a great bedside manner, always seem to be up and keep their demeanor under all circumstances? I mean, how do they do that?
Well, you learn in medical school how to be resilient. We take an oath, and the idea is we want to help people. And so we don't allow often our personal situation to get in the way of us delivering care. You're sick. I want to come to you. I want to be in a good mood, a good disposition, because you're suffering. And I don't want to put my personal situation on you. But the other part of it is that a lot of doctors, unfortunately, during the pandemic, they're going to work sick. I just talked to, on the show, I just talked to doctors out in Kansas, for example, that some of their doctors, even though they're sick, they have to go to work because in rural communities, they only have 5, 6, 8 doctors for the whole town. Yeah. So, it's not easy, Ron. It's tough, but doctors are resilient, and we got to support them.
Absolutely. Well, how do we get more information about this?
Yeah, you can go to mucinex.com to find out more about symptomatic relief, which is going to be important during cold and flu season. But also, please go to healthgrades.com to leave that review for your doctor. Excellent.
Okay. By the way, I love the books about how sugar is like not so good for you, and your diet books very, very cool. I mean, it's a nice awakening call and keeps us all healthy, and that actually goes right into this subject: staying healthy, being healthy. Less is going to happen to you, and if it does, you make it on the better side much better.
Yeah, I'll send you my new one. Okay.
Hey, perfect. Dr. Ian Smith, thank you so much for being with us today. Joseph Rubino and Nita Nehru joins us now, and we're talking about how to stay safe and avoid the twindemic. Before we get into that, could you introduce yourselves and what you represent, where you work?
I'm Joe Rubino. I'm a microbiologist, a consultant with RB Lysol, representing the company in the brand.
Okay. Anita?
And I'm Nita Nehru. I'm with KINSA, it's a public health company, and I lead communications.
Great. So much better when you introduce yourselves because I can screw that up. So I appreciate it. Thank you. We're talking about the twindemic. That's a phrase that we don't hear very often, but it applies around this time. What do you mean by a twindemic?
Well, the concern is, Ron, that with COVID coming up, currently that we're experiencing, that we don't experience a flu outbreak. Fortunately, flu cases seem to be very low right now. That probably has a lot to do with the mitigation practices that we're following to prevent the spread of COVID.
Right. So it's kind of working in so many ways. We're getting into as we speak today, we're getting into a very volatile situation with the holidays and holiday gathering. And the numbers have been rising of problems even before that. So let's go over again, if we could, about how we can take care of the flu and the COVID at the same time during the winter months.
Well, it's practicing good hygiene. So what we've been doing for COVID, wash our hands regularly for at least 20 seconds, lather both the front and the back. Practice good cough etiquette, so cough or sneeze into your elbow if you use a tissue. dispose of it properly, wash your hands afterwards, wear your mask, social distance, avoid people who are sick if they are, clean and disinfect surfaces, and for the flu, it's very important to get your flu shot.
Yes. It's readily available everywhere and free for most people as well. There's no reason not to, although that's been somewhat of a social controversy. This time around, don't even play with it. Just do it. There's no question about that. Is it that simple? It seems that it is. It seems that the people that follow the guidelines are going to be just fine. Those that don't, you're taking a tremendous chance.
Yes, I mean, the guidelines really help mitigate our exposure to the virus.
Yes.
It really reduces our risks. There is no zero risk, but it really does work.
Yeah. What would you say now? My biggest concern are the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, when people drop their guard. There's alcohol involved. This is when families gather together. Some of them haven't hugged in almost a year's time now. This is of great concern to me specifically, because people may allow people into their homes that because it's the holidays. What advice do you have on that?
Well, I think first you should really continue to keep your social, as we say, bubble. That should continue throughout the holidays. Try not to expand beyond that if at all possible. We have developed an app called the Lysol Germcast that gives real-time data on the incidence of cold and flu on a local level that we developed with Kinza, and Nita can take you through the data and how that was developed.
Yes, Nita.
Sorry. So Kinza makes a thermometer that connects to an app to not only give you an accurate temperature, but it also gives families guidance on care and treatment if fever and symptoms are cause for concern. And we have more than 2 million in use across the country, and we're able to aggregate early information on where fever and symptoms are starting. And though the thermometer and app completely protects individual privacy, what we're able to see is an early warning system for spreading illness. And that was always the mission of the company. We were founded with that mission in mind.
Uh-huh. How does one get a hold of that app?
Well, you can go to I'm sorry, go ahead.
If you're asking about Kinza and the thermometer and the app, the thermometers sell in most retail stores across the country, so you can pick one up at CVS, Target. It's a bestseller on Amazon, and we also sell them on our own website, which is kinzahealth.com. And the app is entirely free for both iOS and Android users. Oh,
okay. All right. It sounds like a why not do it kind of thing. I mean, tracking is very important.
It's a great way.
Yeah.
It's a great way to be involved in a mission and a great way to take some action in this very uncertain time.
Yes.
But, using this thermometer and app can help you be part of a community that's hoping to stop the spread of COVID.
That term uncertain times is used a lot. It's a very uncomfortable phrase. It doesn't have to be uncertain. That's the amazing part, is that if things weren't so political or so defiant, it wouldn't really have to be that way. And that's unfortunate. We'd be a little bit more certain of what does work and what doesn't work. So, I mean, I don't know. Do you have any parting words for people here?
Well, I would say what you said is absolutely true. I mean, these are simple practices. They're practices that will have an impact not only on COVID, but all other kinds of many other kinds of infections that we experience, especially respiratory infections. And it's not that hard to do.
No, it's not.
It really isn't.
It really isn't. It's a piece of cloth, and using a couple of brain cells really is really the bottom line. Hey, thank you to the both of you. One more time where we can get more information, please.
Well, for the Lysol Germcast app, you can go to Lysol.com, or you can go to Google Play and the Apple Store to download it for free.
Okay. Nita, thank you for your time. Joseph, thank you for your time. Joseph Rubino and Nita Nehru joins us now. And we're talking about how to stay safe and avoid the twindemic. Before we get into that, could you introduce yourselves and what you represent, where you work?
I'm Joe Rubino. I'm a microbiologist, a consultant with RB Lysol, representing the company and the brand too.
Okay. Nita?
And I'm Nita Nehru. I'm with KINSA, it's a public health company, and I lead communications.
Great. So much better when you introduce yourselves because I can screw that up. So I appreciate it. Thank you. We're talking about the twindemic. That's a phrase that we don't hear very often, but it applies around this time. What do you mean by a twindemic?
Well, the concern is, Ron, that with COVID coming up, currently that we're experiencing, that we don't experience a flu outbreak. Fortunately, flu cases seem to be very low right now. That probably has a lot to do with the mitigation practices that we're following to prevent the spread of COVID.
Right. So it's kind of working in so many ways. We're getting into, as we speak today, we're getting into a very volatile situation with the holidays and holiday gathering, and the numbers have been rising of problems even before that. So let's go over again, if we could, about how we can take care of the flu and the COVID at the same time during the winter months.
Well, it's practicing good hygiene. So what we've been doing for COVID, wash our hands regularly for at least 20 seconds, lather both the front and the back, practice good cough etiquette, so cough or sneeze into your elbow. If you use a tissue, dispose of it properly, wash your hands afterwards, wear your mask, social distance, avoid people who are sick if they are, clean and disinfect surfaces, and for the flu, it's very important to get your flu shot.
Yes. It's readily available everywhere and free for most people as well. There's no reason not to, although that's been somewhat of a social controversy. This time around, don't even play with it. Just do it. There's no question about that. Is it that simple? It seems that it is. It seems that the people that follow the guidelines are going to be just fine. Those that don't, you're taking a tremendous chance.
Yes, I mean, the guidelines really help mitigate our exposure to the virus.
Yes.
It really reduces our risks. There is no zero risk, but it really does work.
Yeah. What would you say now? My biggest concern are the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, when people drop their guard. There's alcohol involved. This is when families gather together. Some of them haven't hugged in almost a year's time now. This is of great concern to me specifically, because people may allow people into their homes that because it's the holidays. What advice do you have on that?
Well, I think first you should really continue to keep your social, as we say, bubble. That should continue throughout the holidays. Try not to expand beyond that if at all possible. We have developed a app called the Lysol Germcast that gives real-time data on the incidence of cold and flu on the local level that we developed with KINSA, and Nita can take you through the data and how that was developed.
Yes, Nita.
Sorry. So KINSA makes a thermometer that connects to an app to not only give you an accurate temperature, but it also gives families guidance on care and treatment if fever and symptoms are cause for concern. And we have more than 2 million in use across the country, and we're able to aggregate early information on where fever and symptoms are starting. And though the thermometer and app completely protect individual privacy, what we're able to see is an early warning system for spreading illness. And that was always the mission of the company. We were founded with that mission in mind.
Uh-huh. How does one get a hold of that app?
Well, you can go to I'm sorry, go ahead.
If you're asking about Kinsa and the thermometer and the app, the thermometers sell in most retail stores across the country, so you can pick one up at CVS, Target. It's a bestseller on Amazon, and we also sell them on our own website, which is kinsahealth.com. And the app is entirely free for both iOS and Android users.
Oh, okay. All right. It sounds like a why not do it kind of thing. I mean, tracking's very important.
It's a great way.
Yeah.
It's a great way to be involved in a mission and a great way to take some action in this very uncertain time.
Yes.
But, using this thermometer and app can help you be part of a community that's hoping to stop the spread of COVID.
That term uncertain times is used a lot. It's a very uncomfortable phrase. It doesn't have to be uncertain. That's the amazing part, is that if things weren't so political or so defiant, it wouldn't really have to be that way. And that's unfortunate. We'd be a little bit more certain of what does work and what doesn't work. So, I don't know. Do you have any parting words for people here?
Well, I would say what you said is absolutely true. I mean, these are simple practices. They're practices that will have an impact not only on COVID, but all other kinds of many other kinds of infections that we experience, especially respiratory infections. And it's not that hard to do.
No, it's not.
It really isn't.
It really isn't. It's a piece of cloth and using a couple of brain cells really is really the bottom line. Hey, thank you to the both of you. One more time where we can get more information, please.
Well, for the Lysol Germcast app, you can go to Lysol.com, or you can go to Google Play and the Apple Store to download it for free.
Okay. Nita, thank you for your time. Joseph, thank you for your time.
Good morning.
Hi, Dr. Manyak. How are you today?
I'm fine, thanks. Thank you very much for having me on today.
It's a pleasure having you here. Dr. Michael Manyak is a medical doctor, a corporate medical executive, an author, an explorer, an expert on health. He's done Fortune 500 publications. He's been with NASA. I mean, oh, my God. Your business card must be loaded. Congratulations on your experience. So we're talking to the man for sure. Now, let's get started here. We're talking about the nose in particular. I don't think I've ever talked about this before in any kind of specifics. Let's get started with why are germs and colds and flus more prevalent during the winter months?
Yeah, that's a good question, isn't it? Well, what happens is that in the colder months, people are driven inside, and so you're in closer proximity to more people, and therefore more susceptible to diseases that can be spread through particles and through contact. So that's what happens in the wintertime.
Okay. All right. Well, that's not good because that's when the big holidays are. The timing's off. Right? Someone timed this thing wrong. I've never thought about sanitizing my nose. It's just never. I mean, we brush our teeth, so that happens. I get that. But I don't understand why we don't touch the nose at all.
Well, it's very interesting. I think most people feel the same way as you do, and it's something that you don't think about a lot. But the fact of the matter is the nose is a major portal for infections to come into the body, and it's also a major reservoir of various microorganisms, bacteria and viruses that sit inside the nose there. So it's a source that is constantly there, and you're not aware of that. And then we touch our faces over 100 times a day.
Yes, we do.
And so you're back, potentially infecting people unknowingly.
Yeah. Even with the masks these days, a lot of people I've noticed don't put it over their noses, so it's a problem.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
We need to be aware of that. Very important.
Yeah. So what should we do during the holiday season, which is starting momentarily? What do we do when we're planning to travel or have guests over, or whatever the case may be? Should we be so bold as to do so?
Well, yes. I think part of it's common sense, but we've heard a lot about in the past several months about things that we need to do or not do, and that includes we need to wash and sanitize our hands regularly.
Yes.
And if we want to avoid touching our face, and if you cough or sneeze, make sure you do it into the crook of your arm or into a tissue of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
And then most importantly, you need to stay home if you have any symptoms. And people forget that. And I think we've all been guilty of that at one time or another. But now we need to be really conscious of that.
Yeah, especially this particular winter, that's for sure. Hopefully it's the last time we have to be extra, but I guess you always have to be. Right. Is there anything we can do with our noses to protect them? You don't wash your nose necessarily. Are nasal sprays good? What do you do with the nose? You just cover it.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And that's the other piece of the puzzle that we need to incorporate into our actions to prevent infections. And you can do that. There are products on the market that are available to help sanitize your nose. And this is a very simple process, a matter of taking a swab of this product that has at least a 60% amount of alcohol in it, rubbing alcohol. And you swab the inside of your nose, swirl it around in your nose, each nostril, 4 or 5 times. And that offers you protection for about 12 hours.
Oh.
So it's relatively simple, and it's something that you just need to incorporate into your daily practices, particularly if you're traveling or going to be in groups, particularly inside. So you can learn a lot more about this from a website that is sanitizeyournose.org. And it'll tell you about this, and it'll show you how to swab the inside of your nose.
Wow.
It's important not to use hand sanitizer or things like that. Okay. They have other things in them that may be irritating and not good for you to do. So you need to use something that's actually designed for nose, protection.
Sure, that's for sure. We don't eat or drink hand sanitizer, so we don't put it in your nose either, because the word "hand" is in it. Yeah. Okay, right. Sanitizeyournose.org. That's one of the org ones. Sanitizeyournose.org. It's kind of important, at least for now, until we figure this out, which looks like it could be somewhat soon. Okay, thank you so much for the information. Keep it covered, stay away from people, and Doctor, I'm sure you agree, the whole thing is very easily avoidable if you just take the steps.
Yes, it'll certainly help decrease any of that transmission, and that's what we need to do.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, sir.
Ereka Vertrini joins us now. She's the host of Access Health on Lifetime, and she's been all over the place, TV and radio and all that. She's been doing this for a while. How long have you been doing this, Ereka?
Oh my gosh, maybe 20 years.
That's
what? I can't believe it. How old am I?
Right, she's only 23. Wait a minute. Okay.
I wish.
Yeah, right. We're talking about the holidays, which are coming up really fast here. And they're going to be a little different this particular year, but, just for this one. So we might as well do something interesting with it. And as Ereka says, the holidays aren't canceled. They just have to be reimagined. And that's the slogan for this holiday season for both Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we need some interesting ideas and products maybe that'll help us make this a little bit different and okay in the long run.
Yes, it's going to be okay. We're going to celebrate safely this holiday season. I'm determined. And I've actually partnered with some wonderful brands to help give you some tips on how to do just that, how to celebrate safely and to still have a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yes. So the first thing I wanted to mention is, we talk about, for me, I host usually 25 on Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
This year, it's just going to be my immediate family. So I'm actually taking this as an opportunity to sort of shift gears, to keep it super simple, and to really spend that time focusing on spending quality time with my loved ones, which I don't generally get to do when I'm running around like a crazy woman. Still, it is the holidays, and I want it to feel festive, and I want it to feel celebratory. So I always like to use, well, first I should mention this, I'm sorry. Chinet Brand just did a study, and they found that 35% of their respondents said that they were going to be using disposable plateware this holiday season.
Yep.
CDC is actually recommending single-use items this holiday season, which makes sense. We want to be safe. But like I said, I still want it to be celebratory and fun. So I turned to the Chinet cut crystal collection. I don't know if I know if you saw it, you know exactly what it is. It's that beautiful, it's that wave.
Yes.
It looks like, but it is disposable, and it's beautiful. And the cups and the cutlery and the plates are all perfectly coordinated, so you still feel like you have a place setting out. They're stylish, they're elegant, and they're sturdy, which I love. It's perfect for the host who wants to spend less time in the kitchen and more time with their family, like you mentioned.
No, that's great. I actually use them whenever for the holidays, and when I used to have parties, they look real. They look absolutely real, and they're also kind of impressive, too, even though they're plastic.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
This is the perfect season for that.
Yeah. Okay. What else is available to me?
Well, we have to talk about food for sure. I know a lot of people are talking about skipping on the turkey, and I'm saying don't do it. Don't skip on the turkey.
No.
Either serve a small turkey or serve a big one and have leftovers for the entire week. I think that's the way to go. My other piece of advice is choose Target. If you're a first-time host, and there's going to be a lot of us out there that have never hosted Thanksgiving before, turn to Target to help you out. They've got their safe contactless services, like their drive up, their order pickup, and their same day delivery with Shipt. They can get you everything that you can possibly need for the holidays. And now this also includes frozen and fresh groceries. Hugely important, right? And this is nationwide. You don't have to be a member, but I've got in front of me my frozen turkey that I cooked, my ready-made garlic mashed potatoes, fresh string beans, cherry pie, and even appetizers like brie with fig and rosemary. Now they're doing something wonderful this year too. They're enhancing all these services. They're offering 8,000 more drive-up spots, so making it super easy. And then Shipt has over 100,000 more shoppers for you this holiday season, so it's going to be super easy, super safe, and then you can get everything that you need. I got everything, if you could see what's in front of me, I've got a whole lot going on here. I got everything delivered same day from Shipt from Target.
Yes, they definitely need to change that name, but yes, I agree. It's fascinating. What else? Now, we're not going to have that many people over, I suppose, but you can still make it a party for those that you live with, right?
Yes. I mean, this is okay. So here's my last piece of party advice. It's going to be small for sure, but try to keep up with the traditions. Let's not ignore the holidays just because it's tiny. You have the ones you love in front of you. Make it fun. I'm still going to be serving all the things that my kids love, even though there's it'll be smaller, but it'll still be there. Yes. And just be ready to be thankful and be appreciative, and then hunker down and have a little bit of fun.
Yes.
Cozy up with the ones.
It's a good idea. I have a friend who can't be with other family because they don't live with her. So she's cooking up an entire Thanksgiving meal. She's going to drop it off on their doorstep. And then at a particular time in the afternoon, they're all going to hook up on Zoom and they're going to eat the dinner together, all the same food. And sounds like a great idea.
I don't think, 2020 hasn't been a great year, but at least we have the technology that can really bring us all together.
Absolutely.
We're doing this. I'm not going to get to see all of my cousins, but we're going to get on Zoom and we're going to make it a party. Yes.
Very cool. Well, Ereka, thanks for bringing us together on that holiday and encouraging us to continue it, just altering it a tad and make it a little different. Where do we go for more? Where do we go for more information and some more product information?
Yes, you can head to my website, which is erekavertrini.com, and all this information will be right there. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you, Ereka. Good to talk to you again.
You too. Thanks for having me.
All right, bye-bye. Dr. Charles Morin joins us now. He is an insomnia specialist, and we're going to learn a little bit about problems with sleeping and how you can get a good one. Do a lot of people suffer from this insomnia situation?
Yes, indeed. Chronic insomnia affects about 10% of all Americans. And cases have dramatically increased during the current COVID-19 pandemic. So now it's probably more 40% of all Americans who experience sleep problems.
Yeah, I think we're all raising our hand on that one, Doctor. Is this a physical situation or is it a psychological situation?
Well, the thing is, with sleep, both can contribute to sleep problems. Of course, if you have some pain, physical discomfort, that's going to have an impact on your sleep. If you're stressed or worry about the pandemic, for instance, or about any life circumstances, this will also impact your sleep. And if you sleep poorly, then you're more likely to have mood disturbances the next day and maybe feel that the pain or the discomfort is more intense. Yeah. So this is really going in both directions.
Yeah. I know some people have trouble getting to sleep. Other people have trouble staying asleep. Some people sleep 8 hours a day, and that's fine. Some people sleep 4 or 5 hours a day, and they're tip-top shape too. It varies so greatly, or does it?
Well, it does to some extent. As you say, there are people who have trouble falling asleep. Others, it's staying asleep. And the sleep, total sleep varies among individuals. But in general, 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours is what is considered normal for most adults. But there are natural short sleepers who can get by with 5 hours, 6 hours, and some who may need more, 9 or 10. So clearly, total sleep duration is not a good marker for defining insomnia. Insomnia is more defined by these problems falling or staying asleep, and typically this is associated with daytime impairments. So it affects our energy level, fatigue, mood, ability to concentrate. But the good news is that there is a proven treatment available for people with chronic insomnia, and that is cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBTI in short. And this is a proven treatment that's been recommended as first-line treatment by professional organizations such as the American College of Physicians, the American Academy of Sleep Medicine.
What does it entail? Is it what type of therapy is this?
Okay, so this is a form of brief psychotherapy. It's sleep-focused, problem-solving oriented. So CBT is like sleep training for adults. It helps people to change the way they think about their sleep and sleep habits that perpetuate insomnia, so they can fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. And CBTI is typically administered by a healthcare professional in person, or usually a psychologist or behavioral sleep medicine specialist. But now there's a new option called the Somrest that is available for patients with chronic insomnia. And Somrest is a software program that delivers CBTI on your smartphone or tablet, providing immediate on-demand access when you need it most.
Is this a, how can I put it? Is this a voice-to-head therapy, similar to visiting a therapist on a regular basis to resolve any inner things that haven't come out? Is it that?
It's more like there's no verbal exchange or interactions with the program. So the program is made up of 6 core modules that you go through on a week-by-week basis over a 6 to 8 week period. And every week you get new information. 1, about how to keep a sleep journal. 2, how to maintain or change your sleep habits that may interfere with your sleep. And then you examine the way you've been thinking about your sleep problems. We know that performance anxiety, or the fear of not sleeping, or the fear of how it's going to impact the next day can feed into the sleep problems. So people are really guided to change these patterns that perpetuate insomnia. And the information is personalized because it's based on the data that they are collecting on their sleep journal.
Interesting. So it's almost like a diet workshop in a way that's tailored for you so that you are more healthy with guidance. I'm trying to understand what type of therapy it is. Is that accurate to say?
Well, this is, like I said, I mean, in its original form, cognitive behavioral therapy is a form of psychotherapy.
Right.
But it has nothing to do with psychoanalysis. I mean, it's brief, and in this case, it's sleep focus. But there is also CBT for anxiety, for depression, but this one is specific to insomnia. How can you overcome your sleep problems by changing the way you behave and the way you think about sleep? And you're guided to do that. And you're not going back in your childhood. It's really focused on the here and now. What are you doing currently that may contribute to your sleep problems?
Very good.
And people are guided to adopt new lifestyles.
Okay, so we're shifting our attitude.
Absolutely. Shifting attitudes, changing behaviors.
Gotcha.
And as simple as if you're not sleepy by 11 o'clock in the evening, you shouldn't go to bed. You should wait that your body and your mind are sleepy. So when you get to bed, you fall asleep faster instead of laying there for an hour, turning and tossing and not being able to sleep. When you do that, you come to associate your bed and bedroom environment with wakefulness and the frustration of not sleeping.
I get it.
So that's why you need to change that kind of behavior.
I get it.
So if people like to know more about this program, they can visit somrest.com and they'll get all the information about the program and how they can get access to it.
All right, let me spell that. I think I have the proper spelling. It's SOMRYST. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so that's important to note. That's SOMRYST.com. Sounds like it could work in order to cessation from smoking and eating and all that. It sounds like a therapy that would work across the board if it's tailored toward that.
Well, absolutely, because there is a module, a component that deals specifically with these that we call sleep hygiene behaviors, the impact of smoking, caffeine, alcohol, cannabis, and all of that. And so one is to provide information, and two is to provide the guidance to change behaviors that may be detrimental to your sleep.
Fascinating. So we'll go to the website and figure out how that can benefit us. SOMRYST. Okay, SOMRYST.com. Thank you so much for your time, Doctor. I think you've told us something we didn't know before, so that's a good thing. And we're going to broadcasting. Hello.
Hi there. I'm calling on behalf of Jason Tetro for the interview today.
Yes, we're all set for him.
Perfect, thank you. Could I please ask the name of the person interviewing him?
Ron.
Thank you. And is it live or taped?
Taped.
Thank you. And what date will it air?
Tuesday of next week.
Tuesday next week. Thank you. And just to let you know, there's a hard finish it'll be 7:30.
Yep, no problem.
Is that okay?
No problem.
Right, thank you. One moment. Perfect. And you're ready for me to pop you through now?
All set to go.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Ron, you're on with Jason Tetro.
Hi, Jason.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm great. Jason Tetro is joining us. He is the germ guy, they call him. He's a microbiologist, and he's been doing this for 30 years. Oh, my God, you're older than most people who listen to the show. Anyway, sorry, start out on a sad note. No, congratulations. That's a long time. And we need your expertise right now because we're all concerned about cleanliness and being vigilant about it. and that's right up your alley.
Oh, yes, it is. This is definitely not my first pandemic. And for the last 30 years, I've been working hard to try and figure out how we can prevent infections. I've done it for the most part in healthcare, but I also know that what you learn in healthcare can be done in the public. And that's one of the reasons why I'm out here talking about it, and also making sure that people understand that in order for us to be clean, we got to use products. And that's one of the reasons why I'm with the American Cleaning Institute collaborating to get people a refresher on what they can do to stay safe during this pandemic.
Good. Now, when this started, the cleaning products were not on the shelves for a long time because all of a sudden they were being swiped off the shelves by consumers. But now we're in a good place with cleaning products, aren't we?
Yeah, so when we look at what happened, there was that mad rush.
Yes.
And you can understand.
Sure.
I mean, if you remember when COVID-19 first came out, it was kind of like SARS.
Yes.
I mean, that's scary.
Yeah.
So they had the rush, and that's totally understandable. But now we've sort of relaxed the way that we feel about COVID for some reason, even though we have more cases than ever. I mean, even in Boston, you're looking at over 200 cases a day.
Yes.
And so as a result, we have all this resource at our fingertips. We just don't seem to be wanting to use them.
Yeah, I know. Actually, it's over 2,000 a day. We were extremely vigilant at first. I remember wiping down my steering wheel every time I went out in the car. I don't do that anymore. And I remember people were wearing gloves all the time. They don't wear gloves anymore. Mm-hmm. So we've kind of understood this as far as the safety is concerned. But we should be cleaning our surroundings and our households a little bit more, I suppose.
Yeah, so disinfection is one of the best ways to be able to stay safe. And I totally understand that people are probably thinking, when we first heard about the pandemic, surfaces were just so important.
Yes.
And now it's all about the transmission in the air.
Right.
Well, we know how to stop the transmission in the air. We wear a mask. But I've done that research, and I can tell you in the first 2 hours after a contaminated droplet has fallen, there's going to be a risk. And that's where disinfection comes in. What I do want to point out is that, according to the American Cleaning Institute, 48% of Americans don't know how to do disinfection properly. Yes. And the fact is, the biggest one for me has always been leaving it there. People just spray and wipe, but the fact is you got to leave it there for about 30 seconds to several minutes for full effect. So, it's called the contact time. We call it officially a dwell time. And when you do that, what's happening is the active ingredient is actually getting in there and killing the virus or whatever bug happens to be there at the time. But the beautiful thing is that all of that has been tested through the United States EPA, and it's on the label. So all you really have to do is follow the label. And, I can tell you those instructions are as accurate as Santa's list when it comes to keeping your loved ones safe.
Well, I've just learned something here in the past minute. Most people spray whatever on an object and then they wipe it right off. I don't know anybody that
I know, and believe me, we had to spend a decade in healthcare to get people to leave it on the surface, so I totally understand that Americans are probably going, wait, what? But yes, you absolutely want to make sure that you're keeping it on there. That 30 seconds to 3 minutes is usually what you want. But again, it's going to be on the label because every product is going to be a bit different. Thankfully, there is one thing where you don't have to follow a label, and that's your hand washing.
Yes.
I mean, you know how to hand wash, don't you?
Yes, and for the proper amount of time, too. I mean, some people, there's a song you're supposed to sing, but they sing it too fast. So it's
well, you're supposed to sing Happy Birthday twice, or you say the alphabet backwards. For me, what I like to do is I like to recite the movies that landed Meryl Streep an Oscar nomination.
Well, that could be all day. That could be all day, my God.
I know, but the thing is then you know that your hands are clean. I have to rinse first, and then you have to dry afterwards. But once you've done that, you're good to go.
Wow. What about you have a worker come into your house for a short period of time and they leave? If you use the spray stuff, the aerosol in the air, those kinds of things, is that effective at all? The things you spray in the air?
Yeah, so when you're looking at those particular types of products, they have a chemical inside of them called cyclodextrin. They're not particularly effective at killing bugs. What they do is they take stuff out of the air. Okay. That's one of the reasons why the majority of these sprays are for scent as opposed to cleaning. But the fact is that what you want to be able to do is make sure that you have some good ventilation that's coming in.
Yeah.
And I know it's a little bit more difficult when the weather is cooler, but even just a small amount of breeze that's coming in is going to get that ventilation going, and then that will help to clean your air. What you also want to be sure of, though, is that any of the surfaces that person would have touched get disinfected afterwards.
Okay. Now, a lot of people for the Thanksgiving holiday are going to have family members over who were not part of the household, or members of the household have been out a little bit more with the holidays, and they could bring it home, the very people that you live with day in and day out. So, I mean, that becomes very, very difficult. How do you handle that?
Well, we do know that intergenerational gatherings where you have people of all ages is a major point for spread of this particular virus. Actually, pretty much any virus. Just we never talked about it before. So when you start looking at this type of situation, think about what happens when you're around your loved ones. The most important thing that you want to think about is that touch, which is incredibly important, is also one of the best ways to be able to transfer. And you really don't want to be touching your face. The problem is that as an individual, you touch your face anywhere from 16 to 23 times an hour.
At least.
So that's where that hand washing comes in. And like you said at the beginning, since the pandemic started, people have become a bit more lax. American Cleaning Institute has statistics that show a 14% decrease in hand washing. Now that we're heading into the holidays, we're going to see our loved ones. You want to try and get that back up there, keep that hand washing in place, because that's the best way to be able to stay safe. And again, this whole idea of social distancing, trying to do everything outdoors, that's fantastic. But when you really think about it, when it's Thanksgiving or when it's the holiday season that's coming up afterwards, you may not want to always just do it in your backyard. And so keeping those hands clean is definitely one of the best ways to help stay safe.
Okay. Now, you talk about cracking the window open. Is it just as well to have a fan in the air or a fan in the room, or is a fan just gonna blow that stuff around anyway?
Oh, no, I mean, fans are fantastic. Ceiling fans, absolutely love them. And the fact is that as long as you keep getting the air going and flowing and cycling through, it's fantastic. It's just... Sometimes I've mentioned that having a fan will work, and people are like, well, I've got, interior air, I've got forced air coming through my vents, or I've got an HVAC system. So any kind of ventilation that you have to be able to make sure that you have anywhere from 6 to 8 exchanges of air per hour, I know that sounds really technical, but it's pretty easy to do, is really going to help to reduce the chances that virus is going to spread.
So crack the windows open this Thanksgiving, not all the way, but cracking it makes a big difference.
Well, yeah, but if you crack it all the way, then the squirrels are going to get in.
Yeah, well,
so,
not if you have a screen.
Sure...
Not if you have a screen on it. Okay.
Well, yeah, okay. If you don't have one of those beautiful old New England homes and you have a screen, then yeah, that's going to work out really well for you. But if you don't have a screen, don't open it too high, because the last thing you want is a squirrel getting in there.
Well, I'll keep my eye on that. Okay, that's a very good suggestion to crack those babies open and keep that going. And your heating bill may be a little higher, but you'll save a life. Hey, this has been great. Where do I go for more information?
Yeah, so if you want to get more information to give you sort of that extra bit of help to keep yourself safe this holiday season, just head to cleaninginstitute.org/coronavirus. It's the American Cleaning Institute special site to help you fight off COVID. It's fantastic, and it's really going to help bolster your motivation to stay safe. And honestly, it's the holidays. We want to have such a good time. I want people to have a good time. I just want you to do it safely so we don't have to worry about the blues that come in around January and February.
Great. He's Jason Tetro. You're a cool guy. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Good morning, Ron. How are you?
Hi, Sally. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
Great.
Nice to speak to you.
You too. Sally Morrison is Director of PR for Natural Diamonds of De Beers Group. And we're talking about showing your love through this wonderful diamond thing. People are kind of stuck in situations here, and I guess not that many people are having ceremonies or getting married. But how do you respond to something like that?
Well, it's interesting. We actually talked to a relationship therapist about this, Dr. Terry Reel, and one of the things he said is that people who've been sheltering in place during COVID with a loved one, it sort of brings people closer together in many cases. It intensifies their relationship, so it sort of acts as an accelerator. So I think what we're seeing is more people coming out of this year and making the decision to get engaged, and certainly jewelers are telling us they're seeing a lot of people getting engaged more than they normally would expect. So there's something certainly going on in the culture. People just need to connect, right?
Right. Yeah, and then there's going to be a run on wedding rings as well when this starts to subside, I assume, as well. So
there may well be a run on wedding rings. I think also it may be that people have, decided not to have a big wedding, right? Because you can't be with a large group, so they're having smaller weddings, but they're still getting engaged, and love prevails, and they're doing something kind of more intimate, more quiet, but they're still getting engaged and getting married.
Yeah, no, the ring is still the symbol. There's no question about that. Now, what about the diamonds themselves? There have been so many different facets and synthetic situations. I mean, where's that going?
Well, I think that what we're seeing, again, coming out of COVID is this sort of need for deep intimacy and authenticity, right? So I think in terms of the way that's playing out and styles of engagement rings, it's like very personal, what's meaningful to her. It's certainly all about, natural diamonds and having a symbol that's sort of true and authentic. And I think we're seeing very much a return to classic styles, maybe classics with a twist, but simple classic styles, because it's about the symbolic weight and not the show,
Well, absolutely. As a matter of fact, it used to be thought, at least in cartoons, that the larger the diamond, the more wonderful the ring, but not really, huh?
I think not now. I mean, I think we're moving away from that bigger bling, bigger this, bigger that, splashy, and it's more private, it's quiet, it's intimate, and it's about that deep connection between two people who've gotten through this year together. And I think, not just engagement rings, right? I think people we've seen in our research are generally looking for much more emotionally meaningful gifts this year for the holiday season, and I think that has to do with basically celebrating, look, we as a family all got through this very, very difficult moment together.
Yeah. And the natural diamonds are probably more popular than ever.
I think so, because I think, what could be truer or more authentic, something that comes from so deep in the earth, always has been a symbol of everlasting love. And in a certain way, I feel like it says I love you without you having to sort of express it in words. And I think for a lot of guys, too, that's a nice thing.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Now, if we're in the market for something, and most people are, it's good to still go into a diamond shop, or can you do this online as well?
I think you can do it online, or you can go into store, and I think certainly a lot of the big retailers that are in your local mall, Kay's, Zales, Jared's, for example, have also wonderful online offering. And I think what we're seeing more is people going to the .coms, doing a lot more research online, and then perhaps just going in to make the final decision. So not maybe browsing the store quite so often, but just going in to do the actual transaction.
Right. Where do we go to find, to guide us to get the diamond that we're looking for?
I think you can go to lots of places where there's wonderful, wonderful content. I think you can go to onlynaturaldiamonds.com, for example, or you can go to some of the store websites, Zales.com, Jared.com. I think I would just say to people out there, do a lot of research. There's plenty of information, lots of beautiful jewelry with, beautiful, beautiful photography, and, browse before you go shopping.
Wonderful. They can also go to DeBeers.com.
De Beers Jewelers has a beautiful website, yes, as does Forevermark.com.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much.
So great to talk to you. Thank you. Have a great day.
Take care, Sally. Bye. Well, there you go. I'll be back Monday with a brand new show. Until then, well, I wish you peace.